Hello, welcome to Trash Talkin.
I'm Reg.
I'm E. One of us is very optimistic about their team. One of us is very pessimistic about their team. Not where we thought we would be.
Can you get a curtain for me? I can't see the ball. I can't see it here.
Well, Jerry Jones would tell you we know.
Is that too bright down?
He would tell you that we know where the sun is.
I set them up on purpose.
The sun's in the same place.
You can't rebuild the stadium and put it the other way.
The good thing is when Mike McCarthy had his press conference the next day, they put up a blind in front of him. They really did to block out the sun, but they won't do it for the team. But Mike McCarthy, to answer questions, said, so we're in the opposite places where we thought we would be coming the year. We're 9 weeks in, and your team looks like they're going to the playoffs, and my team is already done.
I'll tell you, if the NFL could have more games like the two Cincinnati and Baltimore games, there'd be a lot more viewers. Two of the best games I've seen.
It was a pretty good week for football, actually.
There were some good games. There were some good games, just not in Germany, but there were some good games. I feel sorry for the Germans.
Chuba Hubbard did well for me, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, people might not even turn on the American Thanksgiving game while they're eating this year. They might not even turn.
I think we're just doing it for chili and pizza. Honestly. I don't.
That's exactly.
They might not even.
Well, maybe by that time, Trey Lance still weasel him in somehow, but
Caleb might still be playing.
Yeah, it's been tough, and the reason it's been tough, the Cowboys have been horrible, even with Dak, but there was a little more of hope with Dak, but Dak is out for the year. What are our reactions to the rest of the year? What is our reaction to the Dak news?
I think it's the best thing to happen to the team, for Dak in particular. Sit him down. Right now, they're not making the playoffs. The best thing that can happen, I know you don't like doing it. I know tanking's no good.
No, you have to tank sometimes.
You know what? You only win 5 games. You go 5-12, 6-11.
How do
You
you
get a top 10
5-12?
pick, you're going to get a great pick. You need it. He's going to be under contract.
Yeah.
I'd set CD Lamb now if he's hurt. What's the sense of playing him? The only problem is the embarrassment you guys have had at home for the last 5 or 6 games, including the playoffs last year. It doesn't look good on your organization. Jerry has killed that team to a joke. And I've seen so many things in the last 29 years that Dallas hasn't done, that teams like Jacksonville and Carolina have done.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that Jerry lives off regular season wins and not playoff wins and accomplishments over that. I feel sorry for Dak. He's a team player. He does everything he has to do. The team's not that good this year. I think for him personally, it's good to sit the year. What they're doing not playing Trey Lance is absolutely mind-boggling.
Pretty weird, too.
They traded for Trey Lance. He played 1 game in 5
And he can
years.
run.
He can run.
He would just look more like a quarterback.
Be a runner and have some fun. He gets hurt, you throw a Coop.
Cooper Rush isn't your future. At
No,
least see
I
what
know.
Trey Lance has, and if he plays really good the last 6-7 games, whatever, maybe you got something.
Yeah.
But
what
to
you wanted.
play Cooper Rush is absolutely mind-boggling. The defense is horrible. Zimmer's got to go. McCarthy's got to go. There's no excuse that the whole and they showed, what happened last year. They lost Kellen Moore. He's doing well. Dan Quinn, they let him go. He's doing well in Washington. They keep McCarthy. So I think Jerry's ruined that team. I feel sorry for Dak. I think he should just rest the whole year and see what he has next year. What do you think?
Yeah, this sucks. This really sucks.
I've been there many years.
You look forward to like a year. Like I look forward to football more than everything, maybe besides baseball. I think baseball opening day, I look forward to
the amount
more.
of games.
And so, that Browns game was one of the biggest teases ever. Like someone posted the other day, like, how was your best game of the year by far, your first game? But this is really good for those sickos in 2022 who thought Cooper Rush was a better quarterback than Dak. He was horrible. This is not new. He was horrible in 2022 as well. We just had a top 5 defense. Tony Pollard was rushing for 6 yards to carry. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. We didn't have Cooks yet, I don't think. But everyone was playing good. It was a way different football team. This team was going nowhere anyways. Yeah, we wasted a pick on Tyler Guyton, which I liked. I thought it was a responsible pick to pick a tackle. But when you think about there were receivers, and then the second round you could have went running backs. There's so much you could have done. We hit on 1 draft pick, and that's what we're known for, hitting on draft picks. In the last 2 years, we have not hit on any draft picks. So nothing is going right. And I've been a Jerry Jones defender my whole life, and there's no way to defend that guy now because he has done nothing to this team.
He has made you a middle of the pack and below average team.
And
that's what you are. Your depth and your talent is below average, which is sad.
But you know what's even sadder is how good we played last year. Our season was amazing last year. It's hard to believe.
And the sad part is, like, I kind of just want, like, I'm going to sit in front of the TV and hope my team wins. But logically they should be losing now. And the sad part is Bland's going to come back next week. I can see this defense being stupid and winning 2 games, beating the Giants and beating the Panthers. When you have to, but you have to lose these games. And with like this is how the team was last week and the week before without Bland, without Parsons. I could definitely see us losing the Giants, but Bland's going to come back. Like Diggs is going to get lost, but Diggs was amazing.
Wasn't great this week either.
We finally had a pass rush for the first time in the year. He had a sack and a forced fumble. It was nice to see.
He's costing himself some money.
Well, he talks too much.
He talks too much.
That's the problem.
You can't say that about McCarthy as a player.
See, I didn't hate what everyone else hated what he said about McCarthy, but they asked if he feels bad for Mike, and he went, Mike is gonna. Coaches are gonna come and go. Zach Martin's been here since he was 22.
He clarified on his podcast.
I thought it was nice with it. I didn't hate what he said at all. I didn't hate it when I heard it the first time. I was like, I get that. You're in a locker room and you're best friends. He talks a little too much. But the thing is, the only reason I could see this defense stealing a couple games for us, it was and he watched it. It was a completely different defense last week with Micah. And the score doesn't show it.
It does change.
Because we kept giving them the ball. Cooper Rush doesn't know how to take a snap.
And
it was just different. And then you saw a guy like Overshawn, he's my favorite player on the team. Yeah, but he's good. They said he's going to be fine. But he starts flying around. He has 2 sacks because now he's rushing up the middle, and you have an elite guy coming on the side. Carl Lawson is getting to the quarterback. Carl Lawson is 8 years out of his prime, and when Micah Parsons on the other side, so that was the only thing.
Coming back.
Yeah, like Lawrence, I wouldn't even touch Lawrence. I would not bring him back on the team this year. But I can see the defense still in a couple games. But it was nice to see because Cowboys Twitter was so much fun. It was like, I hope everyone texts Dak Prescott tonight and apologizes to him because Dak Prescott's a good quarterback and he couldn't do anything in this offense. Cooper Rush was throwing for 2 yards a pass. I did that at St. Mike's. I did that at St. Mike's. It was disgusting. Like it would be 3rd and 9 and he'd be throwing behind the line to Tolbert. It's not a good team. It's kind of hard to sit there and think that Mike McCarthy's on the sideline calling these plays, but he is. He's calling plays on 3rd and 9. He was doing it when Dak was in.
Yes, but
where there's no one 5 yards up.
No, but if you look they showed some of the routes. There were guys wide open, but he can't look.
Now you have Cooper Rush.
So he just looks at the first guy and throws it to him. You got CD wide open.
Yeah, but he did look a lot better in 22. Like he wasn't good, but he was like hitting balls downfield. Like
when you don't play, you're not going to get better. I don't care at any sport. You know what I mean?
I know, but you think you can just hit guys. Like he was throwing at people's feet. Like it was.
Jerry had no business bringing McCarthy back this year. When they lost that Green
morning,
day, he should have been fired the next day. If you're serious about winning, he was gone.
He should have been.
But
he could have kept Kellen Moore.
I would have never kept Kellen Moore. He's doing well now. Good for him, but. He like ruined a lot of my Sunday. Like watching Kellen Moore run 2 linemen doing flats and curl routes. That was when I was like, I'm done. But the thing is, like, the reason Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy were 2 guys that stayed around forever is because they got all the blame, and Jerry got none of the blame. And finally, the first time this year, Jerry's getting the blame, and you're seeing him freak out when he gets
mad.
I love it. I love watching him get mad. It's so much fun. We were talking about the blinds and the sun the other day. He's like, well, the damn sun, we know where it is all the time. We're gonna tear down the like, come on. Like he's getting defensive now. He's trying to fire people for calling him out. Like,
but there are a lot of buildings, even Indianapolis like that with the sun.
They just cover it. Your players are mad. CD even says to me, he's like, what are we doing? When they showed that replay again, that was a touchdown. I thought Cooper Rush missed it. It was actually a decent throw. And like you stayed in that Eagles game longer than you should have, and then the offense finally imploded, and you couldn't. But the defense looked really good. We're out. We're done. It's over for this year. But I think if the defense was healthy, maybe you'd be looking at like around 500. But at this point, go get a top 10 pick. You need a receiver badly. I would like McMillan or Burden. Yeah. If you get a top 10 pick, that's if you don't get a top 10 pick, take Ginty. I like him a lot.
QBs this year?
Well, we're tied. We're tied down to a guy for 4 years. That can't.
I guess that's true.
Like it's going to be hard to restructure, and you do have a good quarterback. Like it's something you can't. I did not take for granted. A couple of days ago, watching Cooper Rush go. Okay, we do have a good quarterback. build around. Go get Luther Bird. Go
Just
get.
remember, next year you'll have an easier schedule.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very unusual for you guys.
That's
You usually
huge.
get a first place schedule or second.
Oh, right.
This really reminds me of 2020 when Dak snapped his ankle. It's a little different because we were bad both years going into the injury, but where your team needed a kind of a reset and you needed like to get that franchise player, and then we drafted Micah Parsons and it all turned around again. It feels like you need that this time for the offense, which is really weird for us. It's like maybe we need that generational receiver on the other. It's not going to be generational. I don't think any of them are generational, but
they're all great.
I think they're really good.
But
I'm not sure. There's not like a receiver except for McMillan, who I think is like extreme game changer. So we'll see. It sucks. It's needed, but it sucks to come into.
I've been dealing with for 8
I know
years,
you.
so
It's weird because coming into the year, I thought this would be the opposite.
You get excited, and then you think, "Wow, we might as well lose," and it's a terrible way to watch a game.
It's horrible. Luckily, there's some good football.
Yeah.
Like, I like watching like tomorrow night.
But you don't want to get embarrassed. You don't want to lose.
We're getting embarrassed every game. That's the issue. And even the games we won, like the Giants game was ugly. The Steelers game was ugly too, even though we beat them.
Yeah,
we fumbled on the 1 yard line.
We almost lost.
It was an ugly win. It looks really good now, though. That we're one of their 2 losses.
2 losses, exactly.
That feels great, but
loss.
Yeah, it sucks.
Good for all the Steeler fans tonight.
Good for some of those guys like Dowdle who's playing himself in a contract, but it really sucks. But now let's get off this
team.
team.
You depressed me enough.
And let's talk about your team, kinda. We're gonna talk about the Chiefs. Are they gonna go 17-0? They seem like a team of destiny. I don't know why. It seems like everything goes right for them.
Them and the refs.
How do you feel? How do you feel?
They're not an undefeated team. Listen,
No.
Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago on the Monday night. If Todd Bowles had any, you know what?
Yeah,
he would have went for 2. Listen. That's a banged up Tampa Bay team. They had no receivers. They had nothing coming in. You're at home on a Monday night, and you win on the last play.
Yeah,
and again, they got outplayed by Denver. Not just because I'm a fan. They got outplayed. Yeah. Kansas City's offense isn't going to scare it. Kansas City's defense won the game. And again, a block field goal. Come on. How does Denver? I don't mind if the guy missed the field goal, but you don't get a block. Crazy. And again, I was telling you before, Denver's up 14-3 with around 3 minutes left. Denver sacked Mahomes out of field goal range, and here he comes, illegal contact, automatic first down.
Yeah.
That way Kansas City stays in the game. They get a touchdown before the half. It's 14-10. Otherwise, 14-3, they got a punt. Could be down 11 at half. But they get the calls when the calls are needed. And Mahomes, you can see him like he's talking to the ref, blah, blah, blah. They're not going undefeated. They play at Buffalo this week. If Buffalo can't beat them this week at home, okay, with Mahomes is banged up. He's limping around. He's been sacked a lot the last couple of games. Their last 2 games are at Pittsburgh and at Denver. And I'm telling you, that last game, if Denver needs it for the playoffs, which they probably will, they don't scare me. Baltimore scare me way more than Kansas City does. Baltimore's offense is more scary. Kansas City, he's not a runner anymore. If you keep him in the pocket, he's a sitting duck.
Yeah.
The running game's not going to scare anybody. So you stop.
Pacheco's back next year.
Pacheco comes back. Yeah, he's been injured, but they're not an undefeated team. I can't see them. There's no way they're like New England undefeated team and stuff. But destiny is on their side, and it drives you nuts. Not just as a Denver fan, but the way they won that game. You're sitting there, and they had no business winning it, and then he jumps around. He was crying with the second left, and then.
Ends up happening.
Yeah.
You get to see that run with his arms out.
I didn't break anything. I did not break anything.
The weirdest part about watching that kick with the Chiefs and Mahomes is I would never think there's a chance of it getting blocked. And that's the first thing I thought as soon as they lined up. Like, I could see this going wrong.
It wasn't
that's what I know, but it's something. It's like the Patriots have this this magic, and it was like everything's gonna go right. And the Chiefs have turned into the Patriots. For the Chiefs, when they started this whole dynasty thing, it was strong.
With the refs.
Yeah, with the refs too. But they turned into the Patriots because it was always like down the field, 30-yard plays. And they turned into the Patriots because they're boring. Like, they're really boring right now. I don't enjoy watching Mahomes like I ever have, like I used to. And I saw a stat, and this was a couple weeks ago. But it was Mahomes' ranks for the first 3 quarters, and they're like bad or mediocre. And then as soon as the fourth quarter comes, he's first in passer rating, first in touchdowns, first in yards, first in completion. Like, it's almost like he's bored, and then he turns it on at the end. I think he's so great. It's like those crazy musicians that are geniuses and go nuts, and they lock themselves in their room, and it feels like Mahomes is so good and Kelsey is so good that they're just kind of waiting for the real stuff. And this is fun for them. And they're 9-0.
And the problem with that win the other day is Denver did everything right. They held the
Yeah.
ball the last 5
That's the
minutes. They didn't give
They're
him
the
a
Chiefs,
chance. They didn't give him a chance to get the ball back.
It's Patriots way.
Yeah, exactly. But he
It
had
feels
no
that way.
chance. It wasn't on him.
I
He
know.
had nothing to do with it because Denver melted the clock.
And I want you to know,
And
Nick Wright
That
says Bo Nix is better. than
he's,
Caleb.
I'll tell you what.
Nick Wright certainly didn't say that.
He did.
He loves Caleb Williams.
I'm sorry, it's the other guy. I'm sorry.
I'm
Oh,
talking
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
about the one thing about that
He
loss.
looked good. That's the thing.
I'll tell you one thing. They have their franchise
Yeah, he looked
quarterback
really
for the
good.
next 10 years.
Yeah.
He is not throwing interceptions. He's moving around.
Yeah, he looked
He
good.
doesn't have the best
He looks
receivers,
smart.
and he's smart.
He
Exactly.
does.
He looked good.
I like watching.
And he's just using his head, and he wants to win. And you go into Kansas City and play like that, toe to
A
toe,
rookie.
with the
That was
crowd,
important.
rookie, your first game
Playing the
there.
greatest of all.
I was more. Again, you show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. But
Yeah.
that loss, it crushed me. But
No, it was
to
a good
think of the
loss.
future,
It was a really good
it was
loss.
a good loss.
Yeah, I mean, like, you want to make the playoffs, obviously, and you have a chance to make the playoffs, but you also have to judge it as you did coming into the year. Like, that's a pretty big game. Like, even if you didn't win, for Bo to come in as a rookie, that's a big game. That's a win.
I'll tell you, it's a win in my eyes. And again, like you said, Kansas City just seems to be
It's just that's
exactly
them.
what New England.
There's just
Even
every
in the
time it
Super
goes
Bowl
wrong.
last year.
Exactly.
Come on.
I mean, when Brock Purdy left the field, he had a lead in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl, and then it was just like Mahomes walked down the field. If that's what they do, and that's what I love about him. I know a lot of people hate the Chiefs and hate Mahomes. I loved watching Brady do it too, and everyone else hated when Brady did it. And just whenever the stakes were high, whenever he needed to, he was perfect. He was always that guy.
Again, they made a rule for that Juwan Taylor, the offensive line.
They got him
And
once, didn't they?
But against Tampa Bay, when the chips were down, they didn't call him. Kelsey gets a first down. They
Yeah.
get the touchdown, win the game.
Oh yeah, they got the
Well,
refs on their side for
They
sure.
have the refs on their side because they'll only call it
It's blatant.
if it's blatant and when the game's not on the line.
Mhm.
First, they'll probably get a few flags in the first half, but when the
Well, they only
chips are
had
down
3.
in the third or fourth quarter.
They only had 3 for 15 against you guys.
Yeah, and that reminds me of a game where New England never got a penalty.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, that is
Oh,
next to impossible not
In
to get a
football.
penalty in football, not to get a
Brady,
You can get one in
Mahomes,
warm-ups.
Jordan, somehow not LeBron, but
No,
those guys all seem to get special treatment. And I'm not against it. Like, I'm not like for it, but I'm
Joe
not.
Burrow's not getting the calls. How
No.
did they miss that
Oh,
against
terrible.
Baltimore?
He looks good too.
Two penalties on the
that last play.
2-point attempt, and
Face
they
mask.
miss it. A face mask
The
and a
hold.
holding on a receiver.
Yeah.
And these clowns, that should
That's
be
the funny
reviewable.
part. They miss out-and-out calls week after week.
And that
And then they
that's
call
a
the ticky-tack
shitty way to
thing.
lose that game.
Joe Burrow's a great quarterback. He don't get no calls.
No.
I've seen him get hit a few times in Kansas City games. and
Yeah.
There's no flags being thrown.
Yeah, and he deserves it too.
He
He's probably
deserves
been
it.
one of the best.
He's
Besides Lamar, he's probably been the best quarterback this year.
he's been unbelievable.
I'd have him above Allen. If they were,
Nick Wright did today.
I definitely
Had him on
have.
the second turn.
I'm not impressed by
He
Allen.
had him beside Lamar.
Put the kiss of death with Josh Allen. He's thrown 3 interceptions since I said.
Well,
maybe
I'm
in
telling
week
you,
8.
I'm
He's
not.
thrown
I'm just.
3 picks.
I'm not impressed with Allen at all. Just watching him, stats look good, but watching Josh, I'm more impressed with people like Mahomes. Even though the stats aren't as good, because I see Allen not.
I'm
taking
impressed
chances.
with a guy who can throw 5 interceptions and win a game.
That's because Elmo's
That's
the
it.
boss.
If you win a game where you throw 5 picks, you're out of that MVP. You clearly are not. That's a definition of not being valuable.
And against a good team.
But that's the thing. Like, if you throw 5 picks and you win the game, you're out of the MVP race. You're not valuable.
No, you're not.
You're clearly not valuable.
For weeks, he's hardly thrown any incompletions, and then he does.
But the
that.
problem with people who are watching the stats and not watching is Goff throws 4-yard pass, and he does it well, and it works. And that's why I don't trust him in the playoffs, because when you actually need it, there were some balls as soon as he threw like 20 yards plus that looked like really embarrassing, like looked like Cooper Rush balls.
But that's the problem with the NFL is most of the passes now are within 5 yards.
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge
Okay,
quarterbacks
so
because they just boom.
You imagine if Detroit had a great quarterback.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
They'd be unstoppable.
I think they're unstoppable.
I still think they're going to win.
I think they went to.
But all right, let's move on to baseball. And we don't usually talk baseball in November now that the World Series is over, but there is a generational talent who is still young, who is on the market, who could either go to the Dodgers and make them totally unwatchable. The Mets, Yankees, and Red Sox are what's been reported as Final Four destinations. Where do you think he goes, and what do you think happens?
Well, I think the people of Pittsburgh are all going to bring their money together and help the owner, and they're going to
maybe the A's.
Offer him $20 million a year for 1 year, and he'll sign with the Pirates. But that's the bad thing about baseball. There's only 3 or 4 teams that can, there's only 3 or 4 teams that can afford them.
I was surprised the Mets.
To me personally, you said Boston today. I would like to see him go there instead of staying with the Yankees or going to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers get him. Is it really a plan?
Yeah, it's over.
And to me, 2 teams that they won't spend the money that I'd like to see him go to would be Atlanta or Houston. They're not going to spend that kind of money. So again, you said Boston will spend that money. I see him getting $600 million.
Yes.
He's a great player. Wherever he goes, he's going to help. I think this would be an insult to the Yankees if they only got him for 1 year and somebody outbids him and he doesn't want to stay there, because they're a proud organization. They think they got the most money.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where you could put him on the Dodgers. Like, I don't even know who's going to sit out for the Dodgers. To me, I think he'd make the Mets a winner.
Oh yeah, they already look good.
I think no matter where he goes,
I was going to say, I think there's a lot of places where he goes where he just immediately makes them contenders. Like, I don't think there's a lot of places he can go to where it's like, oh, they'll fight for the playoffs. Like, I would love to see him in Boston. Biased, that would be a great fit. Like, just the team was good last year. It wasn't good enough. You add 35 home runs to that, team. That would be really. It would be a really nice apology for incompetency since we've won a World Series, which I'm not going to complain. We only won it was like 6 years ago. It's not that long ago. Right. But since then, it's been a whole lot of just like crap. Like 2021, you made it to the ALCS by luck. You didn't spend any money that year. Somehow you got there. It was a Cinderella run. But it would be nice. And the report was the other day that the Red Sox ownership is all in this year, and it's not like
wait a minute.
It's not that Jerry Jones all in. They're willing to get rid of pieces like Willie Abreu, just won a Silver Slugger. They're willing to get rid of him to get people back. They're willing to give top prospects in their pool, which we have a great prospect pool. They're willing to do all this. They're trying to bring back Tyler O'Neill. They're trying to go get Max Fried as for pitching. Nathan Eovaldi again is a guy who's been in the mix. It would be really nice for them to just say, okay, we're going to give you some fun because baseball is better when Fenway is fun. Yeah. I really hope it doesn't stay with the Yankees. I actually don't see him staying with the Yankees at all. I just think, you kind of get into New York and you see how you're treated in New York. And you see Aaron Judge, who is horrible playoff performer, but is one of the all-time great Yankees at this point. He has the home run record for the AL, and how quickly the fans just did a 180 on him.
Win now, yeah.
Right? So I'm looking at that if I'm a 26-year-old who,
well, he's going to pick wherever he wants to go.
And so I really hope, and I thought Ohtani would be a little smarter. I really hope that some people look at the Dodgers and go, okay, they've got a lot. Let's go somewhere else and try and be competitive.
Does he want to be a big fish on the team, or does he want to just go in there and blend in with the rest of the offense?
That is the thing.
But it's sad that we're talking about 500 to 600, maybe 700 million.
It's going to be 700, 600, 700.
Like that's pretty sad that we're talking about one player when Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, they don't spend as much money on the team as
Tampa was in on him.
Player. Exactly. So I think that's the sad part about baseball and about sports is they're going around catering to this guy.
Oh, yeah. They're giving him a lot.
They're giving him a lot of money. Again, how much money can the Dodgers afford? Like the luxury tax.
Well, they're
crazy.
They're gonna. What they did with Ohtani was they pushed all the money like to when he's retired. But I did think it was funny that the report was that Tampa was calling Soto, and people were like, "He's not going to sign for $8.5 million a year." Like but I do think there is something to be said about the Big Papi effect in Boston, to where I've never seen a player in an organization be like unconditionally loved forever for like his contributions. And I do think players, especially players like from places like Dominican and Cuba, they look at that and they look at Boston, which is a huge contrast from where Boston was 50 years ago, that is somewhat in sports welcoming and accepting to all cultures and stuff, which if you ask Bill Russell and guys like that, they were not. Yeah. But it's weird how I feel like it's a Big Papi effect where players are willing to play for Boston. I would love it. I think it would make us AL East contenders with the Orioles and maybe a little above the Yankees, which would be nice. But
I think if the Yankees lose him, it's huge.
Well, they don't have really a team around.
Their hitting is no good. Stanton's down here. You pitch around Judge, and
Cole is their one pitcher.
They got one pitcher. The rest is nothing.
I mean, they got Verdugo.
Yeah, Baltimore and Boston will be way better.
I think whoever gets Soto again is like contenders for that. Obviously, the Dodgers get it; they might go 162-0. But I think if he goes to the Mets, you look at the Mets a lot different next year. Because going into this, I picked him to go to the World Series, but I picked him based off of just like lightning in a bottle. I think they're a 100-win contender if they get someone like Soto.
Easily.
I don't know if he stays in New York. I think it would be a real smack in the face to stay in New York.
It would.
If you go to the Mets.
He goes to the Mets.
So that's why I'm kind of thinking like it would be a smack in the face to go to the Dodgers, the team that just beat you. Oh, that would be so much fun.
It would be a smack in the face.
That would be a rivalry renewed type of thing though. Because it doesn't happen
all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't happen the other way. Ellsbury, Damon, like the guys all went there. And then like Babe Ruth. That's the thing. Like they all end up going there. No one ends up coming to Boston from the Yankees. So it would be new. It would probably be a rivalry renewer because it's kind of been a soft rivalry for the past couple of years. It would feel kind of like everything's being reborn. Soto, Judge, that guy. Yeah, but we gave him away. We didn't. But yeah, I think wherever he goes, hopefully it's in Boston. But I think he completely fills the team.
Oh.
Just by himself. And we were talking earlier, the Green Monster. He's a righty bat.
Like hit 40 to 50 home runs easy.
He would live off that wall too. He would have 50 doubles.
He would be unstoppable.
And to me, he's the best all-around hitter. Like he's the best all-around hitter in the league. He's gonna hit you 30 home runs and bat like 305. That's a no-brainer. I'd throw all my money at him. I say you want 800? Open up the book. I want to see this guy in a Red Sox uniform more than anything. I would give up all our prospects to have the chance.
Why wouldn't you?
And then go get pitching. Like, no, I'm getting excited for baseball season. I really want to see Juan Soto.
So that new team's on already.
I really want to see Juan Soto in the Red Sox. I will buy the minute if we were to sign him, I would buy a Juan Soto jersey within 10 minutes. I would be so in. He's one of my favorite players. Always has been. Let's move on to our picks
of the week.
Well, let's do just without spread. We'll do Thursday night, and then we'll do with spread. We'll do the Sunday games.
Thursday, I hate to say it, but I'll take Philly at home. I think short week, staying at home, Washington having to travel, lost the game, against Pittsburgh. Maybe they should have won. It's going to be hard for them. I think Philly wins.
I'm taking Washington on that game.
I'm taking Philly. Daniels hasn't looked that good since his rib injury. And I don't think the Commanders are all that good. I think they might have just caught a little
Philly's defense is slowly getting
better. Well, they gave the corners
Cooper DeJean
and Quinyon Mitchell. They gave them both some time. Yeah. They look good. Kellen Moore's finding his way. Hurts looks
the real important picks are the pick of the week.
Let's do pick of the week
because there's a guy who's all alone in first place. I'll give you the. We'll start from the basement, but he won last week, so he's now 3-4. Reg is 3-4 now after picking Arizona. E is 5-2 because he stupidly picked our Cowboys. I don't know how. But you're done, and I picked the Vikings.
Dak was still playing at that point.
Put me at 6-1, all alone in first place. So, Reg, you start with the picks of the week.
Well, I'm going to be a homer on this one. I know they lost a tough game, but they're going home. They're serious about making the playoffs, which I think they can make the playoffs and should make the playoffs. Atlanta lost to New Orleans. They showed me a little bit losing to a bad team on the road.
Could be mad, though.
Second back-to-back game, Denver at home. After 2 road games, I'll take Denver -2.5. I think they win by about a touchdown.
I'll go Bengals +1.5 at LA. I think they're way better in their record. And I think the Chargers are way worse than
they're way worse.
Too.
They're
so
the worst.
It's kind of a good little mix.
They're one of the worst 6-3 teams.
Well, I'm picking against one of the worst good teams too. I'm picking against the Steelers because I don't think they're that good, and they play Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
And I'm taking Baltimore 3.5.
That'll be
it's going to be a great game.
You're Denver.
I'm Bengals +1.5.
Okay, and I got
a couple good games this week.
Let's see how that
at each window. It's we have Thursday. We have tomorrow night's huge. Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens. There's another one too that I'm blanking on, but there are some really good games this week. It's a great time to have your team not be good. It really is. There's some good football. And I know you guys are all jealous that my team stinks.
You learn to watch football just to watch football. It's actually fun now.
I'm anxious to see what the Bills have. Because if they lose this game, you can give Kansas City the home field advantage from now because there'll be 3 games off.
Well, this is like Buffalo's annual thing. Like they beat the Chiefs in the regular season,
season,
and then they lose a heartbreaker in the 2 months. So I think the Bills will win.
I think they'll win.
But then I think we'll get to January.
They're always fun to watch.
As always, Allen against Mahomes. It's
They should have that once a year anyway.
this generation's Brady Manning.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. A lot of good games this week. Cowboy game will be one of them. So don't watch the Cowboys and Texans Monday night. It looked like it was going to be a good game like 2 months ago, but it is no longer a good game. Don't tune in.
It'll be dark at that time of night.
I know.
So
Yeah, Trixie,
you got nothing to worry about.
That's true.
It's a night game.
Is it in Dallas?
Yeah, it's a night game.
We'll probably get beat by 30. All right.
Oh,
We'll see you next week. Post all these games. We'll see how we stack up in the rankings next week. Thank you for watching Trash Talkin'.
I'm Reg.
I'm E. We'll see you next week.